Hey guys, Skaz4. So I've now played entirely through the Henry Stickmin collection. I've done everything there is to do, 100%. And I've noticed there's probably some things in the game that most people have not noticed, that have completely skipped over. So I made this video to help point out some of those things for everyone. First, let's start with the bios. Now the bios themselves are kind of made out like Magic the Gathering cards. And you'll notice that every game has its own design, kind of like different expansions of Magic the Gathering. You also notice in the top left there's a little bubble with a jewel, 1 to 3 jewels. That's actually the rarity of that bio, 1 being simple, 3 being extremely hard to find. Now the bios themselves have all kinds of references and jokes, like here you got alcohol, you got Ryu, you got Ken, you got a Binding of Isaac reference, you got Mario, you've got Luigi, there's even Donkey Kong in there. You've got Fred Flintstone. You've got Johnny Bravo. All kinds of stuff. There's even Jacksepticeye in here. Though oddly enough, I didn't see anything related to Markiplier anywhere, which is kind of disappointing because Markiplier is such a huge fan of this series. Oh, just a quick edit here. I goofed. Mark is in the game. He's just listed under Marky Moo. So he is in the game, which is awesome. Now, my absolute favorites are Bort Sampson.
Bort? Oh, come on, Bort?
And, of course, Tane Flargenstau.
Nude Tane.
There's some pretty interesting stories going on, too, if you take the time to read the bios. Like, take, for example, Rupert Price. He was there at the police station right when all this started with Henry breaking out. Then, fast forward. There's a break-in at the museum. Police are called. He's right there chasing down Henry, trying to get that diamond back. Then later he decides, well, maybe the police force isn't for me. Maybe I'll join the military. And he's right there on the forefront, fighting the Top Hats. And then come later, the final battle with the Top Hats, again with the missile and everything. He's there again on the front lines, doing everything he can to stop those Top Hats. I mean, what a great guy. And then you have tragic stories like this guy, Dave Ponpa. He's just a new guy, just started at the station, just wants to do a good job. All hell breaks loose. Henry breaks out. Everything goes crazy. Poor guy gets fired. Then he ends up finding a new job at the local museum as a security guard. And then what happens? Freaking Henry again, causing trouble. And he gets all caught up in that. And then when you think things couldn't get any worse, he ends up getting caught up with Top Hats. They capture him, lock him in their brig. And now in a weird twist, Henry, the guy that's now screwed him over twice, ends up breaking him out of the brig of the Top Hats and escaping. So what's Dave going to do now? Is he going to go back to a regular job, or is he going to join the Top Hats and help out Henry? Okay, that's enough about bios. Let's start getting into some more fun stuff. If you've played through the Henry Stickmin collection, I highly suggest going over to Newgrounds and playing the old ones. Or at the very least, look up some videos of the old ones being played, because there are some differences. It's not just graphically, but there are some differences in places. Like, for example, I'll show you here, the using this shovel to break into the bank. This is the new remastered version. Now check out how the original looked. Okay, so let's start looking at some of the fun little details in the game. These are things that maybe you just missed, or maybe they're details or facts that you didn't know. Starting out here, let's go to the gravity pit, is what it's called in the game. This is actually a complete remake of an old video that Puffballs has on his YouTube channel. I'll leave it to you to go watch that video, but here's a little taste for you.
No!
Did you know when you get to the Undertale part here that you can actually move your heart around? I mean, it's not going to save your life or anything, but it's kind of cool that you can do it. So there's a scene in the game where you can pick a corrupt tick as one of your options, and the game will completely bug out. You ever notice that when you get to the end, it actually says fission mailed instead of mission failed? I bet a huge number of you guys actually clicked retry and didn't even notice that. Alright, now while we're here at this same scene, the time traveler option. Now, I might be crazy when I say this, but I swear Puffballs took inspiration from Anonymous's YouTube video, Time Traveler. And if you haven't seen it, I highly suggest checking it out. After you finish watching this video, look it up. Time Traveler by Anonymous. It's awesome. But getting back to what I'm talking about. When he goes back in time, it's very similar to when Coach goes back in time. So let me just show you. Just take a look and tell me what you think.
But it's so hot. Look, you're not allowed to change hats, alright? Now drop it.
Remember these guys arguing about a hat? Well, the guy on the left, if we go back to the bios, is actually named Icepick, and he's used to working in cold environments, and that's why he has a big heavy hat on. And that's not working out too well for him in the jungle. Now, here's a fun little detail that took me a few times before I noticed it. When you're in the fight here with the right-hand man, and you pick the spirit form, you know, it's a long drawn-out fight. He's got a time thingy that he slows down time and everything. Did you ever notice here that when he stops time, Henry is definitely doing the suck it DX chop. Next, let's move to still shots, things that usually zoom by so fast in the game that you don't have a chance to check them out. This is Henry's cell phone when he calls a lawyer in escaping the prison. Normally he calls Felix White, which is a reference to Phoenix Wright, of course, but there's other lawyers listed here too, like Saul Goodman and the Hyper Chicken from Futurama. Here's what flashes on the screen quickly when you get the Jetpack Fail in escaping the prison. Wow, that was the lamest thing I've ever seen. The animator must have gotten really lazy or something. I mean, honestly, that was the dumbest fail I've seen in this entire game. So anyway, what do you think of the game so far? Enjoying it? It's taken quite a while, and I'm typing this out as it's yet to be completed. I doubt you'll actually be able to read this far down unless you find a way to pause or do some other sneaky thing. Lame. When you're driving through the museum, there's some Castle Crasher helmets in the background that you might have missed. Here's the computer on the airship that has pirated MP3s, torrented movies, and downloaded cars. Here's the pardon that Henry gets once he captures the Top Hat leader. If you notice at the bottom in very, very small print it says, "Cannot be redeemed if individual does not know how to properly pronounce library." Here's the options that briefly pop up before right-hand man interrupts you and you have to fight him. Obscure reference, your suggestions, or a really dumb option. But the coolest part is when he uses the teleporter and it breaks and he starts teleporting around everywhere. There's a lot of really weird things that show up. So here's some of the more interesting things. He appears in the Mario painting from another part in the game. He appears in a Dr. Mario game. He appears on the moon. He appears in Final Destination from Super Smash Bros. He appears in this weird background with looks like sands from Undertale. He appears with this weird Shrek-like creature. He appears in a Mario Brothers castle with a thwomp about to drop on him. He appears in the Crossing the Pit video that's on Puffball's YouTube channel that I mentioned earlier. And coolest of all, he appears with this really, really weird art. So that's it for this video. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already so you know if I put up any more Henry Stickmin stuff. Also, if you like this video, make sure to check out the Henry Stickmin walkthrough. That's also on my channel. I'll put a link at the end of the video so you can click right to it. And thanks for watching, guys. Bye.